3:47 a.m., January 12, 2026. A grainy, live DCS combat feed lights up like it's a classified briefing leaked to the internet. Over the Caribbean, a Venezuelan Su-30MK2 is cruising at Angels 28, 480 knots. Then the cockpit audio spikes. Contact locked. Not a track. Not a guess. A hard lock. But why would Su-30 suddenly get a stable solution on a target that's supposed to be a ghost? Why now? Why here? Why at 42 nautical miles, right as the target dives through Angels 40 at Mach 1.6 like it owns the sky? And why does the Su-30 scope show a second faint return off to the east? Same altitude band, different closure rate, like someone just opened a trapdoor in the air. The pilot calls it anyway, the Fox 3 standby. And somewhere in that silent black, the reply is not a warning. It's a vampire. Stay with me, because the lock was the smallest mistake. The map says training airspace. The geometry says ambush. Gridded off the northern Venezuelan coastline, the Su-30MK2 is running a classic intercept profile, nose hot, radar active, trying to convert a suspicious blip into something shootable before it evaporates. On paper, it's simple: one bandit, medium altitude, high speed. In reality, it's a three-dimensional knife fight where every decision changes what you can physically see. At Angels 28, the Su-30 is above the thicker soup of weather clutter, but still low enough that the radar horizon bites. The contact, call sign unknown, later labeled as F-22 by the stream overlay, has been playing with vertical separation, climbing through Angels 40, then slicing down to Angels 32, then back up again. That matters because altitude isn't just height, it's line of sight. It's look-down penalty. It's how much ocean you're forcing your radar to stare through. Range, 42 nautical miles, decreasing fast. Closure, high, because the contact is not drifting, it's committing. The Su-30's radar is painting in bursts, trying to hold a lock without admitting it's blind. The pilot calls out a bearing change, 10 degrees right, to keep the target off the nose, reduce closure, buy time for a cleaner solution. But every turn also changes the angle of reflection, what the radar is actually receiving back. You can lose a target by being too correct. Then the second return appears, east. Faint, inconsistent, the kind of track that makes an operator's skin crawl. Is it a ghost return? A data link artifact? A second aircraft running silent? Or worse, a decoy geometry? One target designed to be seen, the other designed to be lethal. This is where the why becomes geopolitical, even in a simulation. Because in the DCS storyline, the Venezuelan side is trying to prove sovereignty over a corridor that's been monitored for months. Oil routes, maritime patrol patterns, foreign ISR orbits that always seem to sit just outside the line. The Su-30 isn't just intercepting a contact. It's intercepting a narrative, and narratives make pilots do dangerous math. Declare? Unable. Commit. Angels 28. Locked. The geometry is set. The problem is, the other side wrote the geometry, didn't it? In the feed, it looks like a fair fight. Twin-engine fighter versus twin-engine fighter, both fast, both lethal, both carrying Fox 3s. But the moment that Su-30MK2 says locked, the disparity isn't in airframes, it's in physics, signal processing, and who gets to stay invisible while still seeing everything. The Su-30MK2 is a heavyweight brawler, big lifting surfaces, big engines, big radar aperture for its class. When it turns nose on and lights up its set, it can absolutely threaten anything that lives in the traditional fighter-shaped world. That's the key phrase, fighter-shaped. A conventional target with a conventional radar cross-section gives you a stable, predictable return. The track holds. The symbology behaves. The pilot's confidence rises. The F-22 was built to punish that confidence. Stealth isn't a magic cloak. It's attacks on your radar. Every edge alignment, every sawtooth seam, every internal bay door, every radar-absorbent layer is designed to make the radar energy do the worst possible thing. Scatter away from the emitter, not back to it. In the DCS narrative, the Su-30's lock is real on the screen. But real can mean three different things: a true skin paint return, a transient glint, angle-dependent, here then gone, or a track stitched together by the radar computer believing hard enough. Meanwhile, the F-22's AN/APG-77 style ASA logic is playing a different sport. An ASA isn't just a stronger flashlight. It's many tiny emitters forming beams that can hop, shape, and time slice. That means faster revisit rates on multiple volumes, better resistance to deceptive noise, and most importantly for this scene, low probability of intercept behavior in how it manages emissions. The Su-30 wants a clean spike. It wants music it can recognize. The F-22 doesn't have to give it that. Then there's the tyranny of situational awareness. In a flanker cockpit, you can be a brilliant pilot and still be forced into a simple question: is my picture complete? The Su-30 is working hard to keep one lock alive while also checking that second faint return to the east. Every extra sweep is time. Every extra mode change is attention. Every extra second is closure. The F-22, by contrast, is portrayed as a sensor fusion platform, not a jet that has sensors, but a jet that turns sensors into a single confident story. The story doesn't arrive as raw radar hits. It arrives as answers. Who, where, how fast, what's the threat ranking, what's the best shot, what's the safest exit. That's why the most dangerous moment for the Su-30 isn't when it sees the F-22, it's when it believes it sees it first. Because the lock itself is a beacon. A PISA-style track that tightens, stabilizes, and commits can be felt, directly or indirectly, by the other side's warning logic, by passive support receivers, by the way the electromagnetic environment changes when you stop searching and start hunting. In the feed, the Su-30 calls "Locked, Fox 3 standby," and the unseen reply arrives like a cold equation: Vampire inbound. Not because the F-22 is faster, because the F-22 got the decision earlier, by minutes, by miles, by angles, and in BVR, that's the only advantage that matters. Here's the part most breaking feeds never explain. Detection isn't a switch. It's geometry plus math plus atmosphere, and in BVR, the ocean is not empty. It's a reflector, a noise generator, a lie factory. Start with the simplest constraint: radar horizon. In the cleanest approximation, the line of sight horizon in nautical miles is, so at Angels 28,000 feet, the Su-30's radar horizon is roughly 177 miles. If the target is at Angels 40,000 feet, its own horizon is about 212 mi. Add them together, and in theory they can see each other at close to 389 mi. Now add the real world inside the simulation. Look down. When the target drops to Angels 32 and the Su-30 is looking into the ocean background, the radar isn't just hunting an aircraft. It's hunting an aircraft inside a sea of returns. Waves, specular glints, multipath reflections. Every processing decision becomes a trade. Filter out clutter and risk deleting the target, or keep sensitivity and risk chasing ghosts. That's where RCS becomes a weapon. The radar range equation is brutal. Detection range scales with the fourth root of RCS. Translation: even a massive reduction in radar signature doesn't reduce range linearly, it collapses it quietly like a floor giving way. Cut RCS by 10x and you don't lose 10x range, you lose about 1.78x range. Cut it by 100x and range drops to about 1.13x. The Su-30 can be doing everything right and still be trying to lock a target that only exists as intermittent, angle-dependent glints. And that's exactly how a stealth-shaped jet punishes a traditional intercept. It turns certainty into probability. Then there's the second channel of detection everyone forgets until it's too late: thermal. At Mach 1.6, friction starts heating leading edges. If the target is using afterburner, the plume becomes a lighthouse. But if it's cruising hot without burner, super cruise logic in the DCS storyline, the IR picture changes. Less plume, more skin heating, and a signature that depends heavily on aspect. Head on, harder; tail on, easier; beam, unstable. So when the Su-30 pilot says "locked," what he may really have is a fragile stack of conditions: a momentary RCS glint, a favorable angle, a lucky clutter filter, and just enough stability to make the symbology look confident. Meanwhile, the sky answers in brevity code, not sympathy: vampire. Because detection is not the fight. Detection is the opening move. A lock is a thought, a kill chain is a machine. In the DCS story, the Su-30MK2 tries to do what every flanker pilot is trained to do in BVR. Convert track to shot before the geometry collapses. The moment the symbol stabilizes, the checklist starts running in the pilot's head like code. Detect, classify, commit, launch, support, assess. That support step is where people die. Because a Fox 3 isn't a magic bullet. An R-77 needs a clean mid-course picture long enough to get it to the basket. Then it goes active, pit bull, and tries to finish the job on its own. If the shooter has to crank away, notch, dump chaff, or break lock too early, the missile's brain is suddenly starving. It can still be lethal, but it becomes a lottery ticket. Now layer in electronic warfare. The Su-30's radar is a spotlight, powerful, directional, and informative to anyone listening. The other side doesn't need to see you with radar to understand your hunting. It just needs to sense the change in the electromagnetic environment. The difference between search sweeps and a committed track, the subtle signature of a beam that's no longer wandering. In the DCS narrative, the F-22 doesn't answer with an obvious spike. It answers with control. The kind of control that comes from managing emissions, pushing data through a fused picture, and choosing when to let the other guy feel anything at all. Then the call hits the cockpit like a fist. Vampire inbound. AM-120 class logic is designed around one cruel idea. Force the defender to spend time surviving instead of fighting. The missile comes in fast, Mach numbers that compress time. And it doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be close enough to make the Su-30 react. The reaction is predictable. Beam to break closure. Notch to confuse Doppler. Chaff to give the seeker a brighter lie. Descend or climb to change the missile's energy problem. But every defensive move steals what the Su-30 needed most, a stable track to support its own shot. That's the asymmetry. The Su-30 thinks the duel is my missile versus your jet. The F-22 plays my missile versus your ability to think. And the ugliest part? The Su-30 may never even get a clean Fox 3 call out loud because by the time it's ready, the kill chain has already closed around it. A lock started this, EW finishes it. The DCS feed cuts to cockpit cam, hands, switches, breathing. You can hear the Su-30 pilot trying to sound calm, like calm can bend physics. Locked, range 40, Angels 2-8, Fox 3. He doesn't finish the sentence. The RWR tone sharpens. The symbology shifts from problem to emergency. Vampire. A missile inbound doesn't feel dramatic in real time. It feels like your timeline just got erased. At Mach numbers, distance is not miles, it's seconds. The Su-30 pilot snaps into survival geometry. Hard crank right, wings loaded, trying to force the missile into a bad look angle. He dumps chaff, not once, but in a desperate rhythm, hoping the seeker chooses the brighter lie. Beam! 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 He drags the threat to the 3-9 line, trying to notch the Doppler return, trying to become ground clutter, but he's over open water. The clutter is cleaner. The ocean doesn't forgive the way land sometimes does. The lock on the F-22 flickers. The track that looked so confident a minute ago starts strobing like a dying light. That second faint return to the east, it's not fading. It's tightening like it was never a ghost at all. Then the next call comes, ice cold, from the unseen side. Fox 3, not shouted, not celebrated, just stated. The Su-30 pilot pulls up, Angels climbing, trying to break the missile's lead pursuit, trying to force it into an energy climb it can't afford. The jet shudders at G. The world outside turns into a smear of black and instrument glow. He gets one more half second to think. If the lock was real, why am I the one defending? The answer arrives as a flash in a tone that cuts off mid-scream. Splash. On the stream overlay, chat explodes. People arguing whether it was the missile, the geometry, the stealth, the so-called unfairness. But the replay shows something simpler. The Su-30 didn't lose because it was slow. It lost because it committed to a story that wasn't true. And the moment it committed, it revealed itself. Instant regret isn't emotion. It's a radar return. Zoom out from the splash, and the lesson is brutally expensive. A modern air fight isn't won by who has the bigger jet or the louder engines. It's won by who buys decision advantage, the ability to detect, classify, and shoot, while the other side is still debating whether the contact is even real. That advantage costs money: stealth shaping, low observable coatings, AESA arrays, sensor fusion, secure data links, EW suites, and the training hours to make all of it work under stress. But here's the ROI. If one platform can consistently force the other into defense first, it doesn't just win fights, it controls airspace. It changes how often patrols fly, how far radars stay on, how much fuel gets burned, how many aircraft are needed to make the same promise. And for Venezuela's Su-30 in this story, the lock wasn't a victory. It was a beacon, an announcement to the sky. I'm here, I'm emitting, I'm committed. One last thing, because it matters. This entire video is a fictional AI-generated techno-thriller scenario based on a DCS-style simulation. It is not real-world news, not verified combat footage, and not a claim about actual events. If you want more breakdowns like this, radar physics, kill chains, and the psychology of instant regret, subscribe and tell me what matchup you want next.